The wind is a razor. It flays the warmth from their meager hides and scours the rock bare. For the 30 souls of the Stone Speaker clan, the world is ending in a shroud of white. The sun is a pale ghost, its heat a forgotten memory from the long-ago tales of the elders. This unending winter, a curse breathed from the throat of the sky, has buried the plains, frozen the rivers, and driven the great herds south or into extinction. A thin and brittle thread in the tapestry of hominid history is about to snap. They are the last of the ancient humans in this dead land, and their bones are cold. Old Alara is the first to fall. She sinks into the snow without a sound, a bundle of skins and weary resolve. Kale, the clan's strongest hunter, turns back, his face a mask of cracked skin and frost. He sees the life fade from her eyes, a final guttering ember. There is no time for ritual, no stones to stack. They take her flint and her hide scraper, precious pieces of their collective survival, and leave her to the ice. It is a mercy the world no longer affords them. A ragged line of shivering figures against an unforgiving landscape, each step a victory against the inevitable. It is then that young Nari, her face barely visible within the cowl of her wolf pelt, points with a trembling, frost-bitten finger. Smoke, she rasps, the word a painful crackle in the frigid air. It is not smoke. It is steam, a faint, shimmering breath rising from a deep fissure in the earth, a wound in the frozen ground. A current of impossible warmth pulses from the chasm, carrying with it the scent of damp earth, of decay, of life. Fear wars with desperation. The dark has its own teeth, but the cold is a certainty. One by one, they choose the unknown over the known killer. They descend, climbing down jagged rock faces into a darkness that swallows the last of the surface light. For a time that feels like an eternity, they are blind, guided only by touch and the precious, life-giving warmth that grows stronger with every foot they drop. And then they see it. At first it is a whisper of light, a faint, spectral green on the periphery of their vision. As their eyes, so accustomed to the blinding glare of snow, adjust to the gloom, the whisper becomes a glow. They have entered a forest not of wood, but of light. Giant fungi, some as tall as 3 men, rise from the cavern floor, their caps pulsing with a soft, ethereal bioluminescence. The air is thick, humid, and alive. This place, this secret world, is a haven. But they are not alone. A low rumble, a sound so deep it is felt in the marrow of their bones, echoes through the vast chamber. The ground trembles, not with the fury of an earthquake, but with the deliberate tread of immense weight. From the glowing twilight, a shape emerges. It is a moving hill of rock and shadow, a living fortress of bone and horn. An Ankylosaurus, larger than any beast of their memory, lumbers past them, its massive tail club swinging low. Interlocking plates, a shield of osteoderms that makes their stone-tipped spears seem like children's toys. The creature ignores them, its small eyes fixed on one of the glowing stalks, which it nudges gently with its armored snout. Then another appears, and another. They are in the nesting grounds. They have not found a sanctuary. They have stumbled into the heart of a titan's lair, trading a world of ice for a world of stone-shattering giants. Panic is a cold stone in their bellies, but there is nowhere to run. To ascend is to face the killing ice. To flee deeper into the dark is to embrace the unknown. So they stay, a sliver of trembling life clinging to the shadows of a stone alcove, watching the titans. Days and nights cease to have meaning, measured only by the rhythmic pulsing of the great fungi and the slow, deliberate movements of the herd. The early humans learn that the Ankylosaurs are creatures of profound routine. They move like a slow river of armored flesh, their passage marked by the deep thud of their clubbed tails and the grinding of stone under their immense weight. They are not predators. They are a force of nature, like a landslide or a flood, dangerous in their indifference. Their ancient survival skills, honed on the frozen plains, were now being reforged. It is Kale, his hunter's eyes accustomed to seeing what is not there, who first understands. He watches one of the largest males, a beast whose back is a landscape of scarred bone, approach a cluster of smaller, non-luminous growths that choke the base of a glowing stalk. The dinosaur does not eat the light-giving fungus. Instead, with surprising delicacy from its keratin-OUS beak, it chews away the parasitic growths, consuming them. Its passage clears the way for the light to thrive. The clan watches as the creatures deposit their dung in careful proximity to the fungal groves, and from this waste, new, vibrant life springs forth. This is not a lair, it is a garden, and these are its tenders. The clan is witnessing a form of symbiosis, so ancient it defies their understanding, a pact between beast and fungus that has painted a living masterpiece in the heart of the earth. This realization changes everything. They are no longer intruders in a monster's den but mice in a giant's farmhouse. The fear remains a constant, sharp edge to their existence, but it is now tempered by a new kind of strategy. Their community adapts. The hunters become walkers. Kale and the others learn the herd's pathways, the subtle shift in a tail that signals a change in direction. They learn to move between the thunder lizards, their small, soft bodies insignificant enough to be ignored. The gatherers, led by Nori, follow in their wake. Where the giants have cleared the choking weeds, they find edible tubers and pale, protein-rich grubs. Their greatest discovery comes when they find a shed osteoderm, a thick plate of bone armor, half buried in the soft soil. It is heavy, its edge sharp enough to dig and scrape. This becomes their new tool, a piece of the Titan's own strength turned to their purpose. This is the dawn of a new primitive technology, born not from flint, but from the discarded remnants of the very creatures that dominate their world. They survive on the giant's leftovers, building a fragile existence in the safety of their shadow. For the first time since the Great Winter began, there is a flicker of something more than just survival in their hearts. It is a fragile, cautious hope, growing just as softly as the world around them. The peace is a lie. They learn this when the screaming starts. It is a sound unlike any they have ever heard, a high-pitched chittering shriek that tears through the cavern's quiet hum, echoing from the deeper, unexplored darkness. It is the sound of a nightmare-given voice. The Ankylosaurus herd reacts instantly. The titans form a circle, a fortress of impenetrable armor, their great tail clubs held ready. The young ones, small car-sized versions of their parents, are pushed into the protected center. The clan, caught out in the open while foraging, presses themselves into a crevice, their new sense of security shattered. From the unlit tunnels they emerge, long, sinuous bodies moving with a terrifying insect-like speed. Their skin is pale, almost translucent, their eyes vestigial, useless in the eternal dark. They hub by sound and vibration, their massive, sickle-shaped claws tapping against the stone. These are not the raptors of the sunlit world. They are a subterranean horror, an evolutionary echo adapted to kill in the black. The creatures, a pack of 6, swarm the armored circle. They are intelligent, flanking, feinting, their shrieks a disorienting sonic weapon. One leaps onto the back of a half-grown Ankylosaurus, its claws scrabbling for purchase on the osteodermis, seeking the softer flesh of the neck. The mother swings her tail, a devastating arc of bone that connects with a sickening crunch, sending the attacker flying into the cavern wall. But another takes its place. It is a war of attrition, and the herd, for all its power, is defensive. This is a trophic cascade in motion. A new apex predator has arrived, and its presence threatens to unravel the entire delicate ecosystem. The clan watches in horror as the pack finally isolates a juvenile, dragging it screaming into the darkness. The light of the great fungi seems to dim in the aftermath, as if in mourning. Kale knows they are next. The predators are bold. Sooner or later, they will sense the clan's soft, unprotected bodies. Their old ways, the ways of the brave hunter, are useless here. Courage is no match for these silent, swift killers. They must use the one weapon they possess that the beasts do not, the mind. Huddled around a small, captured glowing fungus in their alcove, a council of desperation is held. Nori remembers the surface, the way fire, a terrifying unsacred power, held the great bears at bay. Here there is no wood to burn. But there are stones. Kale watches the blind hunters, notes how they flinch from the loud, grinding sound of the Ankylosaurus moving. Sound, that is the key. For 2 cycles of the herd's slumber they work. They gather the hardest stones, chipping away at them, creating sharp edges. They collect the dry, fibrous husks of the parasitic plants the titans discard. This is an act of audacious foresight, a gamble born of terror and intellect, a defining moment in the long story of human evolution. When the shrieks echo again from the deep, the clan is ready. As the pale hunters emerge, Kale and 3 others step from the shadows. In their hands, they hold their invention, stone striking stone, showering sparks onto the dry husks. Fire blooms in the darkness for the first time. The pale horrors recoil, their sensitive, sightless faces contorting. The clan does not stop. They begin to beat the flat stones against the cavern wall, creating a cacophony, an echo that kills the darkness. The predators, overwhelmed by light and sound, sensory inputs their evolution has abandoned, shriek in pain and confusion, retreating back into the blackness from which they came. They have not won a war but a single, desperate battle. They have defended not just themselves, but their unwitting hosts. The great armored beasts turn their slow heads, their small ancient eyes seeming to register the small, soft things in their impossible fire for the first time. In the quiet that follows, the clan stands not as trembling mice, but as something new. They are a thinking reed in a forest of giants, a flicker of coordinated intelligence in a world ruled by brute force and instinct. The fire they created was more than a weapon, it was a declaration. It was the moment their minds, fragile and complex, became a force of nature in their own right, as tangible as a claw or club. This single act of desperate ingenuity, this choice to manipulate the environment rather than merely endure it, is the seed from which their entire future will grow. The relationship with the titans is forever changed. They are no longer just scavengers living on the periphery, but a strange, unpredictable variable in the cavern's ancient equation. The herd may never understand the spark of consciousness that now shares their glowing world, but a new, unspoken symbiosis has been born, the clan's intelligence for the herd's passive protection. From this cavern echoes will ripple out, not of sound, but of possibility. They are the proof that survival is not merely about being the strongest, but about being the one clever enough to steal fire from the heart of the stone, even in the deepest dark. Countless such moments, lost to the abyss of time, were the true crucibles of humanity. The echoes you hear in the silence are the footfalls of your own past. But the surface world is not dead, only sleeping under its blanket of ice.